most of our inventions have become because we thought that, man, wouldn't it be great if I had a little box that I could just call people and talk to them rather than like send a letter? It's gonna implant shit in your brain so you can hear it in your head.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. I kind of want it.
No.
I kind of.
You want it, but the majority of the population.
No, I think they.
No, just by the fact
you
that
already
the
carry
majority.
it everywhere. And we're back. Back on the show, revamped on a whole new set.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do this again.
Let's do it.
It's been a year and a half, 2 years, too long to really count, but we're back at it, you know.
Dude.
It's a long time coming, and I've been just lazy. It's just been lazy. I just don't want to do anything. Every time I make a show on my own in my room, I'm like, this is disgusting. This is annoying and stupid.
It's hard.
And all sorts of things, you know, like I love doing this stuff because I feel like it's part of our like career or part of our passion in some way, but at the same time, you don't want to come out like a douchebag. I watch so many videos on YouTube where like I just want to learn how to do this thing in Excel, and all these guys just trying to be funny and shit, and like I don't know. It's just like I'm trying to not be one of them. You know?
Don't you feel like? Do you ever get to this point where you're just like, man, life is hard. like I know it's obviously it's hard, but like I'm getting to this point now where I feel like I don't know. Like maybe it's just me getting older, me being like a little bit lazy, but I feel like I like look at certain situations and I'm like, do I really have to put in that much effort? You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, damn, like everything is like even now, like as we're doing this, it's like, you gotta be on. You're like, yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's be it. Like, and I feel like, and I feel like there's that. And like, that's how I want to be. I want to be that way in everything. Like, it would be nice to be on because that's like the thing that we all enjoy. We like being on, you know? It's like whether you're playing a video game, you want to be involved. Whether you're hanging out with your girl, you want to be involved with your girl.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the same time, all of that is work.
Yeah.
At your job, with your girl, with your friends, on a show, playing games, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's like life is hard.
Yeah.
And
that
being
sounds
involved
so
like
first like world country like
just
problems.
But I think
world problems. That's what it is.
You know what also it is I'm sick right now too. So it's like because I'm sick, like being like trying to like imagine like being more involved is even more taxing.
Yeah, because your girl was sick and that caused you to get sick too.
Yeah.
My boss is sick too. I'm around sick people all day. Like the last few days I've been around sick people and luckily I haven't gotten sick. I don't know what is it. Maybe because I just got back from being sick. But no, going back what you're saying, like life, it's not a picnic. That's for sure. And it feels like, I mean, there's also standards we set for ourselves. Like we know we can be up here. So when we're not up here, we're like, fuck, this is hard. It's hard to hit those RPMs at all time. You know what I mean? Like those people that are really like charismatic and energy and just real like, they're just that type of person, you know? And you embody that, like out of what I've seen you in the world, and you've always brought that positive energy, that positive dynamic where like, I kind of like, I'm very neutral unless I know you well. And then I'm like up, you know, I'm neutral. I'm like, I don't hate you. I don't love you. I'm just here to get this shit done. And then you're good, you know, versus you're like, hey, how can I help you? And all this stuff. And like, I don't know, something about you that I've always looked at and you're very good at is to just like make people happy around you. You know what I mean? You're always trying to like, and I'm not trying to say this a people pleaser, but there is a level of that too. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that because you do need to please people, but there is a level where I can't reach those because my boss also like, I feel like at my work, people don't like me.
Really?
And primarily is because
that
I don't
'cause you're
get
the
to
boss, though?
interact with people that much. Yeah, I'm the boss, but at the same time, I every time I need to come into a situation, it's usually a situation where I gotta de-escalate things and handle the worst people because I do security.
Right.
You know,
You have
like
to be the bad guy,
Yeah,
so to
I'm the
speak.
guy that comes in. It's like, all right, now you gotta go. You know,
Right.
but at the same time, I feel like I don't bring that energy where like people want to be around me. They just want to be around me because the another tricky thing is kind of like what you just said about me being the boss is that if I like somebody or somebody tries to be my friend at work, they think they have an in on getting away with things, you know?
Right.
And it's because I'm in security and my job depends on me not letting people slide, you know?
Right.
And too many times have I befriended somebody at work, and then later on I was like, oh man, can I do this real quick? It's just gonna be for an hour or today or whatever.
Right.
And then you kind of like open the gates for that, and they just want to do that shit all the time.
Start stepping
You know,
on you. Yeah.
they just build a habit now. Versus like this was a one time thing, bro. Like let's not keep doing this. Don't make me the bad guy. But in
Yeah.
a way, somebody's got to be the bad guy, and it's kind of weird too though because it kind of works out because I'm a bad guy. Things don't go array. You know what I mean?
Right.
People know that if I step in or I get there, it's because I'm gonna handle things. You know, I'm gonna be there to like, okay, this is my job. I'm gonna do it. So there's no like, oh, he's just gonna talk to this guy, he's probably gonna let him slide. Versus my boss, he's super nice. So like I'm the guy that comes in, it's like, no, this is not how it works. And then the other person either retaliates by saying something more outrageous or try to get away with somebody. Because there's always gonna be that person that you're just not gonna be able to convince. So when my boss comes in and he's the nice guy, he's like, oh, don't worry about it, we'll let you get there, park there, or go do that and not have a pass or whatever. And he's good at de-escalating things by letting them get away with it, you know? Versus me, I'm like, I'm the rules guy and the rules say this, and if you don't follow the rules, then this is gonna turn bad for you, you know?
Yeah.
And certain times things turn bad and people listen to me because of my position. But then my boss, and when things don't work out for me and they seem to be going worse, my boss steps in and like neutralizes things. He doesn't put his hammer down too. He kind of like lets people get away with it only for that one time, right? Like for the most part.
Right.
Not always, but
That's the tricky thing, I think, with like being in an authoritative position. It's kind of like being wealthy, which is like you don't know whether or not you're getting taken advantage of, or you don't know when you might get taken advantage of. It's like you want to be able to like be lenient or allow people to kind of like have a degree of freedom. You know, or like you said, like you want to be able to build relationships with people, but you don't know when someone's going to try to take advantage of you. It's like same thing with wealth. Like the more money or the more authority you have in any given area, it's like almost being a parent.
yeah.
You know, it's like, think about like, I'm not a parent yet, but I mean like, I mean, I probably am, you know, I have a kid. No, I'm just
Somewhere
kidding.
out there.
Somewhere out there. No, I'm just kidding. But like, no, I mean, the same way, it's like, I feel like, you know, being a dad or a mom, you want to befriend your children, like you want to be friends with them, but yet you have to set up boundaries of like, no, like this is, I still am playing a role of like, I have to be the person who like decides how things are actually going to go, but I also want to be friendly with you in the same way like wealthy people have to be like, I want to give to you and help. Like some wealth people are super stingy and probably like don't give to charity or anything. But some people are probably like, oh yeah, I want to help. I really do want to be involved in my community, but yet I can't give away everything. Otherwise I won't be able to help anymore. So there's like this, there's like this weird balance that you have to play with the more responsibility and the more authority you have. I feel like where it's like, you know, you have to, be willing to, or you have to, if you want to, you have to be willing to give and allow things to occur, but yet you also have to like create a boundary. Where you're like, all right, you can't step too far. So it's tricky.
Yeah,
it's tricky
well, like
being an authority for role.
Yeah, I mean that's why it's important to have a good team. When it comes to business, when it comes to a project, when it comes to most things, I would say there's a give and take, you know, and you gotta have a good balanced dynamic between the powers, because you can't be too powerful, otherwise people are gonna like, kind of like my situation, people are gonna hate me because I'm the hammer that comes down in some way, versus my boss is like lifts the hammer and just lets you go by, and it's like, it's cool, you know, let's de-escalate things, because it's escalating further, versus me trying to like, okay, this is the rules, I'm sorry, you got to go now. But
yeah, what's it been like for you at your job lately? Because I know you guys have had like the Always Sunny in Philadelphia thing there lately.
Oh yeah,
like,
there's been a
how
lot
long have
of
you worked there now?
big
3 years, 4 years,
4 years now, coming up to 5.
4
Yeah,
years, wow.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia just filmed at my site where I work.
That's pretty cool.
And they did some scene with a ice cream truck. And I don't know what the scene was comprised of, because when I was there when they were getting set up, and they shot in the evening when I was gone. But I saw the ice cream truck, and I saw the gym where I'm that's one of the buildings we surveil. And there was also a chess tournament in the gym, and some other classes of chess. There was another scene with chess. I don't know. I'm actually gonna cut it into this episode.
Nice.
If it comes out,
airs, right?
And by the time
cool.
I can edit this and post it. But
That'd be dope.
It's Always Sunny. I can't believe they're still going.
I can't believe it. Yeah.
They're still going, dude. And
it's
craziest
such a silly
part,
show. It's funny, but it's like, yeah, I can't believe it's still got that much clout.
Right. And not only that, but dude, they were there at my site for 4 days. The first day, just trucks came in to set things up, the big stuff, like the big lights, the big cranes, everything, you know? On the second day, they set up the scene, and then they shoot in the evening, and then they shoot the next day, and then they break down on the 4th day.
Jeez.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's a lot.
So like, and it's like 200 people. You know, for this scene, you know,
for like how long is it? Yeah, it's probably gonna be maybe a minute or 2 minutes of the show. It's like,
and they have catering. Oh shit! Yeah, we just did. We lost. And we're back. We we didn't put new batteries in the freaking H6, so
it's crazy to me. Went out. Like, we're on such solid ground, right? Like, we think we are, but yet, at any moment, something could just go wrong. Like, just like that, like the power went out, or, you know, like we lost batteries. But like, I don't know if you heard about the earthquake in Turkey yesterday.
Yeah.
Wasn't that crazy? Like, I literally saw something on TikTok, and I was like, is this even real? Like, I saw all these buildings fall. I was like, what is that?
Yeah, dude.
Isn't that so scary?
So scary.
And we live in California, right on the edge of
we had an earthquake. Fault.
Yeah, we've had a couple recently.
Well, like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Over at 2 a.m. And it was
Did you feel that?
Yeah, I felt it. I felt.
Were you sleeping?
I was sleeping, and
you woke up.
I was awake. I think
we felt it.
I woke up. I didn't wake up during it, but I was I don't know. I think I was like just laying or I don't remember, but I felt like I was falling.
All right.
Because it was shaking. I was like, wait. Is there something?
You felt like you're sliding or something, yeah.
And I was like, and then I looked at my my bookshelf, and I saw things moving. I was like, oh shit, is this an earthquake? And for a second, I'm like, if earthquakes are like tsunamis, you know how tsunamis work? Like the water dissipates, and then a bunch of water comes in right after, you know? So I thought maybe this was like the little like gradual build up of a big earthquake. Yeah. So I was thinking if it shakes again, I'm about to fucking get up. You know what I mean? I have to step outside because we're on the ground level and there's a floor above us. So
I don't know. Yeah. Either way, it's scary.
Yeah. Like,
Terrifying.
there is no good thing to do, really.
Just get outside.
Like,
get outside.
Yeah. Probably the smartest thing to do would be get outside, because that way there's less likely of something collapsing upon you. You know.
Right.
But yeah, man. For a second, I was like, oh, please don't, just don't. You know. And I was thinking about, like, what would my life be if, like, my building went down, you know, like everything is gone. It's just crushed, you know,
gone.
So, like, does that mean my car also went down? And because our cars are below a structure, like, it's probably more likely that section of the complex will break down just simply because there is no foundation underneath besides some pillars, you know,
which is so scary. Like, when you look at it, like when you look at the design out there, I'm like, I don't want to live above that area. Like, that would be terrifying.
No.
Like, at least this area has, like, a little bit more of a structure to it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
scary. It's scary how quick and unsettling earthquakes can be. Like, they just come out of nowhere.
They can come out of nowhere. Exactly.
I hate that feeling. Every time an earthquake happens, I'm always just like, it is the most unsettling feeling. And then for at least like 6 hours to 3 or 4 days, depending upon how bad it is, you feel super nervous, or at least I do. I'm just like, can it happen?
Yeah. And I was like, because before we moved to LA, my mom was like, oh, what about earthquakes? You got to be fucking careful, because you guys are going to go under or something, you know, like a fucking tsunami or something. Tsunamis do not occur in this region of the earth, I guess. I think it's because of Hawaii and several other volcanoes, but I don't know. Anyways, what I was realizing when my mom was making a big deal out of it, because she was adamant about me moving out here, but I was like, I have no other options, Mom. Like, what else am I gonna do? So what I was thinking was that there's always gonna be some other state with some other weather conditions that aren't, you know, good. Like in Arizona, there's fucking sandstorms.
Sure.
You know, and the fucking heat, dude. You gotta wear muffins. If you don't put a fucking sunshade on your car, you're gonna have to wear muffins to touch your steering wheel, because it gets that fucking hot. Remember?
Right.
It got so
just the
fucking
heat,
hot.
It really melts your car.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Melts your dashboard.
So I was like, I'd much rather take a risk with some earthquakes than to deal with this fucking heat still, you know? Fuck all that.
I think when I'm thinking about, like, living permanently, I don't know if I want to live so close to a plate tectonic, you know? Like, I feel like there's better areas. Like,
oh yeah, I've thought of that too, because should I just be stuck in California this whole time? Do I not want to explore other places of the United States or the world? Well, I still can, because once you hit, you know, like, I mean, you can probably move whenever you want to move, but while you're young, it's probably the best time, you know? Right. Once you start having kids and stuff, like, it's going to be a lot harder.
Totally.
But, yeah, man, I don't know. Like, I don't know where else I would want to move, but at the same time, you build so many connections here that you kind of know the navigation, unless you get a pretty sweet job somewhere else, you know? That would probably be the only factor. But then again, you would probably, if you could make more money somewhere else, it would probably be cheaper than LA. I mean, if you go to New York, it's not going to be cheaper. But most of all, the rest of the country, it's cheaper than LA, you know?
Yeah. How has your life changed since the pandemic? Because I feel like we're just now coming out of it, you know, in a way. Like, we're just kind of getting back to some level of normalcy, you know, like, we're not wearing masks for the most part.
They're about to, like, lift the
mask mandate,
the COVID mandates. All of them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like it's starting to, like, ease up a little bit, like, but it has changed things, you know. Like, obviously, inflation's gone up. Like, how has your life changed in the last 2 years?
there's still people wearing masks.
Yeah.
You know, and there's still gonna be people wearing masks, and you're just gonna accept that. You know,
Mm.
how that changed my life. It gave me perspective on how quickly things could change all of a sudden. You know, like it was literally my birthday, and a couple days later, oh, stay at home mandates.
Right.
You know, we're like, remember?
Yeah, like the day after your birthday. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, what
That's
the
crazy.
fuck? But the thing is that I worked the entire pandemic, and I made less money than unemployment than
Yeah,
you,
than me,
you know,
Totally.
which was dumb as fuck. But in a way, it kind of led me to the position I am now as the boss in some way. So, you know, it kind of worked out in terms of that, you know, like I would have still been making less money. I would have probably be working at the hotel with you guys, been doing engineering with you guys, you know.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, you're in a
Otherwise-
great position right now. And you're in a great position going forward, maybe to, you know, be in a spot or a managerial position that could make you even more money.
Yeah,
that's
yeah. Just in the terms of experience, yeah. Or at least that's what I've been trying to apply for. I've been trying to leave my job for a while, but there's no other places that are willing to pay me as much as this job is. And I could probably get a couple more dollars out of this job if I threaten to leave because they're so short-handed. Like,
Isn't that what you did to get from your
Yeah.
last pay bump to now?
yeah, that's what I did.
How long ago did you do that? A year ago? When did you jump?
Yeah, about a
About
year
a year,
ago.
right?
A year ago, I asked for more money because I told them I was gonna leave, and they were like,
like,
"Yeah,
"Here,
how
here you
much
go."
you want?"
Yeah.
I was like,
This much.
"Okay,
Nice.
sweet." Yeah, it was pretty. It was the most gangster shit that my boss did. He's like, because he's busy, you know, he's dealing with like multiple other sites, so like. A guy that's trying to leave is asking for more money, really, and he just straight up says, "How much do you want?" You know, like he sets up a meeting with me. So
Right.
I send an email saying all this shit, and he replies saying, "Hey, let's just have a conversation. Let's talk on Friday or whatever at 11." And 11 comes around. He's like, "Oh, I'm busy still. Let's just postpone it to 12." And I was like, "Okay, 12." So I sent him a text, and then he just calls me before 12, like at 11:40 or something. Calls me and says, "Hey, Mario, sorry, I got another meeting at 12. So, how much do you want?" He just straight
Just
up
asked
says,
you? Yeah.
"How much do you want?" And I was like,
And you're
"Okay,
like,
all right."
want
And
this
then
much.
he's like, "Yeah." And
No
then he was
way.
like, "Okay, we'll make it happen." I was like,
No way.
all right.
Oh.
sweet, you know?
So,
And it was a
yeah.
$5 bump, you know?
That's
Which
yeah,
is
and
not
that's
something
That's a
common.
good bump. Yeah,
That is
like
a
that's a
common.
good percentage. Like
You get like $1 or $2, and then you're like, oh, sweet, I'm making $2-3 on top of that, but I made $5 on top of that.
especially on a yearly rate, like usually it's like 30 cents to maybe 60 cents a raise. So yeah, $5 is a
Yeah.
nice little raise.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but I mean it's a year now, so it's not out of the question to ask for another $1 or $2 at least.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right,
I'm like,
like,
I'm
all right,
trying to
bump me
get
up a
more
little more.
money, son.
It all helps.
Because,
But the real trick, I was gonna ask two questions. So like the first thing that came to my mind there is like obviously the real game is to like get out of hourly wage, right?
yeah.
And get into
Make your
something
own
like
business.
passive revenue. You need to be making money while you're not working hours. Like you need to have a
Exactly.
product or a service that you can sell that while you're sleeping you're making money.
Yes.
So like that's obviously the goal. But then I was gonna also think like, what do you think is a great job? Like what do you think the best job is right now that you can think of? Like just a job, a regular hourly job.
Oh,
for
a
a
regular
service.
hourly job?
Yeah, like what do you think? What's the like, trash man makes, 35, 40 or postman
Probably
makes
a
50 bucks an
CEO.
hour.
How much do CEOs make? Right? Are they on hourly or are they like salary? I guess they are salary, right?
I don't know. But yeah, what do you think? What would be the best job, quote unquote job, like that gets like an hourly pay, not a salary? Yeah, something
Well,
like an hourly job.
I know that there are. I mean, back in the day when I wanted to get into a cybersecurity, and those motherfuckers make,
All right.
6 figures and above. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
because it's such in demand. It's all about preventing getting hacked, and hackers are everywhere. They get into your email and they got all your shit, and you're fucked. So cybersecurity is a really good industry to get into right now, especially right now, because it's just blowing up, and there's huge demand for all these up and coming businesses that need, to have a good website that's secure. And if they take some shit, they can't take more shit. It's a lot, though. It's a lot.
I just thought of like doctor, kind of like therapist or psychologist. They charge hourly, or
Lawyers,
paralegals,
too.
like they charge hourly. That's pretty high, like $300, $400 an hour, or even like a freelance filmmaker or something like that. Someone like a director or no, maybe not a director,
that do
but like
commercials, dude.
Cinematographers, like or something like that. Like they can charge, per project or something.
Yeah, yeah. Jumping in those jobs. I remember when I was making minimum wage. And I was looking at like, oh shit, this guy's getting paid $4 over the minimum wage. I want to get there, Excuse me. And then I was thinking, man, now I'm there or above that, there, making more than that. And I'm like, I still want more money. Like, it's still not enough.
Hourly doesn't mean anything to me anymore. Like, even if I was getting $40, $50, $60 an hour, it's like, that's nice, but that to me is a stepping stone. Like what we were just saying, it's like I got to get out of the hourly mentality. It's like I don't want to be working for my hours anymore. I want to create content or services that I can have regularly, be exchanging with people for for monetary value. It's like so that's why I'm trying to get on this book game. I feel like that's going to be a huge one. And dude, I realized speaking about the book, I realized I gotta get a literary agent. So that's the big thing, because I don't want to self-publish. I want to find a publisher. It's going to be hard to just go out and find a publisher. Like, you can just look for a publisher and just be like, hey, like, publish me. But really, the best way to do it is kind of like acting or modeling. You got to find an agent. So you find a literary agent, and you essentially send like a pitch out. Like I did from the limited research that I'm doing right now. It's like you send pitches out, like almost like cover letters, to different literary agents, and you see if any of these literary agents like your material and want to pick you up. And then if they pick you up, then they'll approach, because they usually have contacts within the publishing distribution communities. They'll approach these, individuals or these companies and be like, hey, I have this new work. You want to pick it up? What deal can we get? So I realized that's what's going to be my approach is, one, finish the book, do peer review, peer editing, finish up my own editing, and then start approaching literary agents. And then
in case the audience doesn't remember what you're writing a book about, could you elaborate?
Physics book. It's a physics metaphysics book. So
metaphysics book?
Physics metaphysics.
You mean metaphysics?
Metaphysics and physics. I was actually thinking right now in the kitchen too. I was thinking like, because I did that. What is that website? The crowdfunding, GoFundMe or something like that. What's the popular one?
Yeah.
Is it GoFundMe? What is it called?
Fuck, I forget.
I think it is
GoFundMe, something like that. Anyways.
Something like that. Yeah, like there's a popular one, and I was thinking, like, how could I revamp that? Because before I did it, and I was trying to build up crowdfunding to sell the book itself, but didn't really get a lot of hits on it. And I realized, what if I did a GoFundMe for the physics experiment? Because a big part of the book is the metaphysics side, which is like explaining where our substrate comes from, like what our reality is actually made of, like the physical material. Like, so, like when you think about atoms, like everything's made of atoms. When you break that down, you think about atoms break down into subatomic quanta or material. And what is that material? Essentially, I propose that is a electromagnetic field, or it's a standing, oscillating electromagnetic material. Essentially, it's light. And so that's the idea, is that from this book, is that, like, our reality and everything in it is made up of different types of oscillating electromagnetic waves, electromagnetic fields, charged fields. And the physics experiment could demonstrate that we could capture light and turn it directly into electricity, rather than the way that we kind of convert electricity through solar technology, through like solar panels right now. Right now we kind of do it through a chemical process where the photons in light, they like knock electrons out of existing material, and those electrons, you know, essentially flow through a circuit, and that's how we get electricity through like photovoltaic cells. I want to create a physics experiment to prove that we can create like some machinery that we can actually capture photons, like the light itself, and that we can compress those photons down into electrons. So essentially it's solar fusion. And it's like, and it would be cutting edge because like everyone's all about solar fusion right now. So it's like I don't know. Did you hear about the new advances there? Like they made some breakthroughs in fusion technologies. I didn't really look into it that much, but I know that they like supposedly, oh yeah, we should look that up, because supposedly they made some breakthroughs or made some breakthroughs in fusion technologies, like the ability to
video or
they made like what's the new thing that they got going on.
How do you spell fusion?
FUSION.
ION.
Yeah, apparently there's like some new fusion breakthroughs. So the idea would be that like, but the problem with the way that I think most scientific endeavors are like approaching fusion right now.
Nuclear fusion.
Right, nuclear fusion.
Nuclear fusion has always been pretty good though, right?
Well, we can't get more energy out of it than what we're putting into it.
Oh, I see.
And so that's the issue, is because we're trying to create, we're trying to replicate the way the sun creates energy, and the sun creates energy by the mass of the sun is essentially like smushing together bits of atoms, and these atoms, helium, and different massive atoms are essentially coming together and being compressed, and they're combining. Hydrogen is combining with other hydrogen atoms and turning into helium, and because these atoms are combining, when they combine, they release energy. So that's how fusion works in the sun. Is essentially you can just imagine it as little bits of material are fusing together, and when they fuse together, that releases charge, it releases energy, and we see that as light when we see it as electricity. And so we're trying to replicate that process through these machines, where we heat up this gas or heat up this fuel, and we heat it up so much that the atoms in the fuel fuse together with the other atoms, and as they fuse together, they release some of that energy. They release more energy than the energy that we are putting into that system to heat up the fuel. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get more energy out of the heat. Essentially, like you can imagine it as they're trying to heat up something so hot that it actually gives us energy back, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? It's like, imagine it as like a fighter, right? Like if you're boxing somebody, and this boxer doesn't ever punch back, but eventually, if it gets beat up enough, it'll punch back. You know what I mean? That's kind of like what it's like. So it's like they're punching these atoms, they're heating up these atoms so much, and when the atoms finally fuse together, those atoms release energy back out. But the whole thing is they're not getting enough energy back out of that system as much as to what they're putting into that system to heat up the fuel. Right. But the big thing is like they're using an already pre-existing fuel. Like they're using like heavy water or like deuterium, like they're using fuel from Earth, rather than what I would propose would be to take electromagnetic energy, which is solar energy, and just directly cycle it in on itself. Because I propose that you could, like, that light, electromagnetic waves, is essentially like water. It is a wave. It's it's like it's a what's the right word? Not liquid, but it's a fluid. It's a fluid material, and like you can kind of recognize that even by the experiment that you saw, where remember when like they poked
Oh,
that little thing.
Yeah, I was going to bring that one up.
The laser bent through the thing.
Yeah.
So it's like light obviously follows wave dynamics, and we've already known this, and it follows particle dynamics. So it's like we've already been onto this kind of idea, and I'm so surprised that we haven't really like delved further into this study of light.
Well,
I don't know. I just feel like there's a big
hole.
Well, I feel like there's a big revelatory moment coming, and I like to be a part of it. You know, as far as with writing this book, but also almost feel like there's a big mask or a big like, not facade, but like a big
the Iron Curtain.
Yeah,
you ever heard it?
Yeah, like curtain that's kind of like shielding us. You know, and like the government and physicists and probably people who are in the know probably really know what's going on.
Yeah.
And are just not allowing the general public to really be privy to it.
Remember when we talked about that one guy that built that car that runs on water?
Right.
And he drove it from fucking Vegas to like, San Diego or something.
Right.
And then, he fucking disappeared. Like his whole fucking, he was poisoned. He's like, they poisoned me. And then he died.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But
that's the scary part.
Right.
About like trying to come up with new ideas.
Which is weird because they let Elon Musk make an electric fucking vehicle. Right. Where like, I mean, maybe that's around the same thing, but I hear that electric vehicles have been around since the fucking 60s.
Right.
And they just never got popularized globally or big enough for it to be a market. I mean, I saw a video about all these different like vehicles and systems that use batteries and how to charge them and all this stuff, and how did it not become a thing? Right. I think also is because they weren't as fast probably, and I think Elon figured out how to make them fucking fast, because too many times have there been battery powered whatever, they're fucking slow, just these fucking, I didn't even know what kind of vehicle it was, but that vehicle that is covered in like solar panels and it's flat and shit.
No, I haven't seen
that. It wasn't impressive. It was just weird looking, but yeah, it's very interesting. Another thing is that also back then gas was super cheap. It was like $2, like not even, and not until like the demand went so high and the manufacturing of vehicles became so broad that now there's too much demand and not enough supply in some way, That's why gas prices are insane right now.
Do you feel like it's the supply that creates the production, or no? Do you feel like it's the demand that creates the production, or do you feel like it's the suppliers that really generate the production? Because I mean, like, I know they kind of shared, but like sometimes I feel like we're kind of pawns in the bigger scheme of what's going on. Like the people who are creating our cars, they could just create all electric cars right now. Yeah. Like they could all just change it. And then if they only made electric cars available, like sure, there'd still be some people who are like, I'm going to make my own gas car or whatever. Yeah. But for the most part, everyone would just start driving electric cars. Kind of the same way it's like if they only, like right now, like there's only iPhones and Androids. There's only a very, like they're the two main brands. And sure, there's some off brands out there, but the majority of people have either an iPhone or like a Samsung, like an Android or an iPhone. At least in the States. And so like that's weird that like are we just direct avenues of this bigger conglomerate that's kind of like forcing us to go down these specific roads? And if so, why don't they choose healthier roads for us? Like they're choosing these fucked up directions and not helping themselves out.
How can you judge the market, I mean, remember when they thought that cigarettes were good for you and fucking doctors were like smoking in the surgery room and shit? It's like, I gotta get a cigarette so I can fucking calm down. And
is it all about money? It's just about money.
I think so, right? Like, who was it that, I mean, Tesla wanted to make that fucking giant tower thing that gave everybody free energy or whatever.
Yeah, what do you think that was? We should look that up. We should see what that exactly was.
That's essentially.
We should look that up. Like, because
The
I
which one?
don't know. One of those we should look up and like learn more about it because that's interesting to me. I heard a little bit about it, but I heard that he was trying to send electricity through the ground. But I don't know. Was he trying to send it through the air? What? Yeah. What was that? Tesla Tower. Yeah. What's the real story behind that? Did you ever look into that and really study it or hear anything
No,
about it?
I mean I watched the documentary as much as I could say.
Yeah. What did you learn from it?
I don't.
What is it?
I don't remember what exactly it was.
It was an early experiment wireless transmission station on Long Island, located in the Village.
Nikola.
Tesla intended to transmit messages across the Atlantic to England, Earth to conduct the signals.
Oops, sorry. But I mean,
Better complete radio-based telegraph system. Does it say that he was trying to actually move electricity? In an attempt to satisfy Tesla's debates, the tower was demolished for scrap. Oh, debts. Tesla debts. Wow, he had debts. Property was taken into foreclosure. Hazardous ways. Design and operational principles. Let's look at what is that. Go down.
which one?
Design and operational principles. At the very bottom. See? No, all the way down.
Oh, this bar. Origin.
Tesla design
this
grew
is
out
whole
experiments
fucking
in the 1980s.
project,
His primary
bro.
goal in these experiments was to develop a wireless power transmission system. He discarded the idea of using the newly discovered Hertz and radio waves. By the physicists, Tesla doubted they existed, and basic physics told him, and most other scientists from that period, that they would only travel in straight lines the way visible light did, meaning they would travel straight out into space, becoming hopelessly lost. Laboratory work and large-scale experiments, Tesla developed his own ideas on how a worldwide wireless system would work. He theorized these experiments that if he injected electric current into the earth at just the right frequency, he could harness what he believed was the waves. That they could be trapped anywhere on the planet to run devices. Through modulation. Carrier signal. His system was based more on the 19th century ideas of electrical conduction and telegraphy instead of newer theories of airborne electromagnetic waves with an electrical charge being conducted through the ground and being returned through the air.
Yeah.
Okay. So he imagined creating maybe a cyclical current. Like, you know how electricity is, what do you call it? Is alternating. Alternating.
Yeah.
So maybe he imagined that the waves that are flying through the air and the earth could act like anodes and cathodes, and they could kind of move back and forth between each other, and you could get electricity from the movement by pumping the earth or essentially changing the signal of the earth. And so he was imagining maybe you could move the current naturally through the earth, pulling electricity out of it. Sounds like Tesla's design used a concept of a charged conductive upper layer in the atmosphere, a theory dating back to an 1872 idea for a proposed wireless power system. Tesla not only believed that he could use this layer as his return path in his electrical conduction system, but that the power flowing through it would make it glow, providing nighttime lighting for cities and shipping lanes. What? No way. Never heard of this. Weekly article titled "Talking with the Planets," Tesla described his system of energy transmission and of telegraphy without the use of wires as the Earth itself as the medium for conducting the currents, thus dispensing with wires and all other artificial conductors. A machine which, to explain its operation in plain language, resembled a pump in its action, drawing electricity from the earth and driving it back into the same at an enormous rate, thus creating ripples of disturbances spreading through the earth as though a wire
could be detected great distances by carefully attuned receiving circuits. In this manner, I was able to transmit to a distance not only feeble effects for the purposes of signaling, but considerable amounts of energy. And later discoveries I made convinced me that I shall ultimately succeed in conveying power without wires for industrial purposes with high economy and to any distance, however great. That's interesting. Tesla's magnifying apparatus for transmitting electrical energy on the right there.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? That's weird. That's so crazy. I've never really looked into this.
Yeah.
What do you think about Tesla? Do you think he was like obviously he was a genius in some regard, but do you think he really was onto something with that, or do you think was he a little bit like
I mean, he was definitely on the spectrum. I think he was just gifted, like kind of like Einstein. Einstein was just, I mean, I'm sure he worked really hard, but he was gifted in this imagination, an ability to imagine things and then bring them into reality, because if you think about it, most of our inventions have become because we thought that, man, wouldn't it be great if I had a little box that I could just call people and talk to them rather than like send a letter, but in terms of who he was, what he represents, and what he actually did, he did a lot. I mean, he has like a ton of patents for electric devices that we still use today, So he became a very wealthy person off of just those, I don't know what happened where he lost most of his wealth, or he might have given it away or burned through it. I'm not too sure, but I know that he was a very he liked to show off. He liked to build things. He built I heard this story that he would invite people to his house, and he would show these little boats, remote control boats, and have them swim or drive around the pool, and show them, be entertaining in some way with these mysterious devices at that time, where
was he like a magician then? Was
he
an entertainer?
Right? That's what I'm imagining from the story I heard. He is a bit of a magician, a bit of a entertainer. I don't know what led him to go south. The thing about those times is that they weren't very well oriented in terms of like lead poisoning, and the food back then might have not been the greatest. I don't know what kind of drugs he was taking, if he was medicated or what. A lot of factors could play into what will cause them to slowly lose his charisma, his status in some way.
Yeah.
Where I'm sure there was a part of the market didn't want him to succeed, or at least the people that were funding him. I heard another story where is it Henry Ford? Didn't want to fund him because they couldn't quantify the amount of energy people were going to be using so they can be charged,
Right.
So he was trying to if they hook up to this, tower, and they'll have plenty of energy to do whatever they want.
But it's not regulating it.
Yeah, but it's not being regulated. So how am I going to make money? It's
Right.
fuck all this. I'm out,
Right.
So
Comes back to
I
money.
wonder how much of that actually took place, and how much Nikola Tesla decided that, I'm just not going to do it. If you're not going to let me do it like I want to do it, then I'm not going to do it, Fuck the future of technology, and I'm just going to hang out with this bird. Did you hear the whole thing with the bird?
I heard something about that. Yeah, he loved pigeons, or he fell in love with a pigeon.
He fell in
or
love with
something, or...
one pigeon. Yeah, one pigeon, and then it got
Who knows if
severely
that's even a real
sick.
story? It might have just been somebody who said it, and then it became super famous. Somebody wrote a
Yeah.
article about it, and it's like forever now. It's like
Yeah.
he got known as the pigeon guy. It's like
Yeah.
that's one way to ruin somebody's character.
Legacy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like let's write a fucking terrible story up in the newspaper about how he's fallen in love with a pigeon, and then he's like, great, now I'm known as the pigeon guy versus like his brilliant legacy.
Right.
It's like that's an easy way to taint
I
somebody.
wonder how big he was back then, because you know, they had telephones back then, right? Pretty sure.
Well, I think so.
Yeah.
1899. Yeah.
Yeah, they had but the word didn't get around that quick, at that time. It's like he was big in that region, maybe, but not around the world, probably, and that kind of caused him to kind of like fall back into the audience and not be like standing out, and I don't know. So much of the past is so mysterious.
I mean, but he's still a legend to where, like, you mentioned his name, Tesla, and I mean, besides the fact that he's obviously, that name is being used by Elon for his cars.
Yeah.
Like, most people have heard of
I wonder why
Tesla.
He chose Tesla.
Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, I wonder why he chose Tesla, because, Elon.
Yeah.
Elon. Because he was not a fan of Nikola Tesla.
Really?
I mean, he was a fan to an extent, but he get like a controversy from a comment he made about Nikola Tesla and what's his name? The other dude that made the bulb.
Edison.
Edison. He said that
why didn't you choose Edison?
Edison was more important for the future or for history because he was able to sell it and make a profit and improve it over time because of his wealth, versus Tesla was trying to just give it away and just not even get money off of it, But that's hearsay too. Who knows about what actually took place back then, what kind of drama was happening. But all that stuff back then, it's just like, man, imagine how much more different things would have been if they would have gotten so many things right. You know what I mean? I mean, like, just cigarettes alone, how many people would have survived if they caught that way ahead of time,
I mean, that's evolution though. Like, it's hard to see from a bigger perspective. Like, we're
drugs. Like, if
we're growing, it's like you can't look at one period of time and judge it. Like, I mean, you can, but like you have to have this broader scope and realize that we are this evolving culture, this society. It's like we are really growing, and even if it seems like we're growing to a negative polarity right now, or we're growing towards, like a negative spectrum, I would argue that overall, like, we have been evolving in positive directions just by the fact that we're sharing information more by just that simple fact alone. That means our consciousness as a whole is becoming more involved and evolved, versus like if we were running around now and killing each other with swords or shooting each other with guns and there was fires in the streets. It's like, that's obviously worse. Right. So like the fact that there's law and order means in general that there is a growth and a structure and an evolution to what's going on.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we're not hurting the planet or not hurting ourselves in certain capacities, but I think we're still growing and I think we're still evolving. I don't know. What do you think when you hear this stuff? Like, do you ever think to yourself up of like a really grandiose idea or like an impactful invention or something? Like, what do you think is going to be the next revelatory tidbit in, say, the next 10 years, 20 years? Because it's 2023.
I think it's happening right now, and it's not growing fast enough.
The GPT chat?
Yeah.
Or what is that called?
GP, yeah.
Is that what it is?
Chat GPT. GP.
What does that stand for?
I don't know. Oh,
we should look that up and do one of the things. How does that work? Chat GPT.
Chat.
Why are you so fascinated by Chat GPT? Chat GPT.
Oops.
GPP.
GPT. Yeah.
You down with GPT?
Yeah. Yeah, I like it because it's getting close to
Is it free?
what we right now it is, but they're saying that they're gonna charge $45 to have
That
it.
would be a great commercial for it.
What?
We should be like, you down with GPT? You know it's free. You down with GPT? You know it's free. Right? And then it's like,
guess.
boom, GPT.
Right.
You down with GPT?
Yeah.
Yeah, they should hire me.
Yeah.
GPT. You know
Yeah.
it's free.
I mean, dude, if you just type in Chat GPT on YouTube, you get a fucking, huge array of people just godsmacked by this, like
What do you mean Godsmack?
like they're just like blown
Ripping-
away by the ability of what this thing could do, like look at these, like this was a month ago, this was a day ago, 5 days ago, 2 hours ago, this guy put this shit out. It's just like, and it's ranking like this guy. I love this guy. This Cold
this
Fusion.
is what we should be talking about. Cold
It has a million views, and this was a day ago,
Right.
this one's got 43,000 4
Chat
hours
GPT.
ago. You know what I mean? Like it's growing rapidly. I mean, like
What
once
is so good about
Jordan
Chat
Peterson
GPT?
talked about it. What's so good about it is
What's so good about Chat GPT?
it's AI with all the data and human at least in text conversationalist. It's an ability. It's like it's gathering all this data out of the internet so quickly and phrasing it in a conversation as you would. Like too many times you ask things on Google where Google is just like, I don't know the answer to this, but these are all websites that connect to the keywords you just put on the search bar, versus this thing is giving you the answer. Oh, this is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, but it's gotta be
How can I use
It's
Chat GPT right
infinite. I mean, what do you do? What do you want to know?
Well, like, I mean, that's the thing is like we asked it questions for my physics stuff, and it like just said nope, can't answer.
Well,
Like,
your physics stuff, your physics
I'm
stuff is
asking
different. Is different than what is known today. If you ask what is known today, because it can't make
You have-
future perspectives of what science is gonna be like in the future, because that's what you're kind of writing about, like you're looking at science and seeing that the way of gathering
so
energy.
it's like a search engine.
Yeah,
like
it's a
really
search
good search engine.
but
Versus
it's
like a creation engine. So it's not intelligent enough to create, but it's intelligent enough to give you exactly what you asked for. If that makes sense. If it exists, it can give you exactly what you asked for, but it can't create new ideas, right? Is that what I'm getting? Because it doesn't seem like it can generate a new idea, but it can give you information on something that already is.
So I just asked, give me 10 ideas on how to use Chat GPT. Customer service, use Chat GPT to assist with the customers. Personal shopping assistant, virtual writer assistant. That's like up your alley since you're trying to write a book. Language translation.
Ask it how can we make $1 million in a month
Virtual HR.
if we have $100.
How to
Right?
make $1 million?
How to make $1 million in a month starting from $100.
In a month.
It's like, go buy a gun.
Rob a bank. Making $1 million in 1 month is a challenging goal and not typically achievable through single or simple actions. Here are a few general steps that could potentially lead to substantial financial growth. Identify a profitable business opportunities, develop a solid business plan, build a strong brand, network or market your business, continuously improve and Innovate.
Let's ask it to write a poem.
It's really good at that.
Write a poem.
About what?
Ask it to write a Valentine's Day poem.
Oh my God. You do it.
Write a Valentine's Day poem.
On how beautiful my
For
girlfriend
a
is. Because that's what you really want to use it for.
You
Like, in love
just
with.
started dating.
Enter.
Let's see.
Here's a Valentine's Day poem for a girl.
Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm so lucky to have started dating you. You light up my day with your smile so bright. Being with you makes everything just right. We've only just started, but I feel so sure that this love will blossom forevermore. I'm excited to see what the future will bring and to spend many more Valentine days with my sweetheart, my queen. So on this special day, I want you to know that my heart is overflowing with love that will grow. I can't wait to see what our love will become and to share it with you under the moon and sun. Happy Valentine's Day, my love so true. I'm so grateful to have started dating you. Whoa,
Dude, that's pretty good,
That's
yo.
pretty good. Okay, let me do another one. I want to do one more.
You got it upside down. There you go.
Whoa, that was actually pretty good. All right,
Yeah.
let's do
a song.
Write a Valentine's Day poem. I want to do a different one better.
A different one better.
He's got to help me with my
girl. It's coming around the corner.
Yeah,
It's the
Valentine's Day is
7th
like
today.
next week. I got to figure it out.
Is it the
Write a
7th?
Valentine's Day poem.
Yeah, it is the 7th of February.
in Shakespearean.
You can spell it wrong and they'll still get it.
Write a Valentine's Day in Shakespearean voice.
Pattern. Written or
Style.
style. Uh-huh.
Write a Valentine's Day poem in Shakespearean style for a blonde
Blonde girl. I really like.
named Lauren.
Damn. She's gonna watch this podcast and be like, I know where you got that poem from now. A fucking robot.
Is that how you spell Lauren?
Dude, I spelled it wrong the last time.
Lauren.
Lauren. Isn't it A?
Lauren. Named Lauren. That you love. All right, let's see what happens. All right, you can take it back. Here's a Valentine's Day poem in a Shakespearean style. Okay. Fair Lauren, with hair like spun gold, thou art the sun in my sky so bold. Thy smile as bright as the morning's ray doth chase away the darkness of day. Thine eyes like pools of crystal blue reflect the love that I have for you. Thou art my joy and my heart's delight, the very essence of beauty and light. On this day of love I do confess, my heart doth ache for thy tenderness. I vow to cherish and hold thee tight, for thou art my love, my heart's delight. So here I stand before thee now, with love in my heart, and vow on my brow, to be thine till death do us part, and hold thee close within my heart. Happy Valentine's Day, my fair Lauren, thou art the one whom I do adore and love. Oh, that's pretty good. That's not
That
bad.
is pretty good, dude. And that's a computer.
Whoa.
That's a fucking algorithm. It's an AI. It's like,
Can it-
okay.
Write it. Can it do like a long, like tell it to do something that's like 10 pages long? Be like,
Oh, yeah.
Write me. Like
It can write a script on.
All right, tell it to write a script, a movie script, something.
A script for
let's
what?
Let's make a movie right now.
Right.
All right, how do we do it?
What's a cool movie? Like, what's the
All right.
best? Oh, a Matrix movie. What is the Matrix 5 gonna be? Write a script. Write a script.
Tell it to write Neil's movie. Let's think of Neil's movie.
And it writes it better and shit. Like, write a script.
Write a script
10 pages.
in the style
long.
of the Matrix series.
In
10 pages long.
how many
90
pages?
pages. 90 pages.
90, dude. It's gonna take forever.
No, it won't.
Yes, it will.
It shouldn't. Remember, didn't he say that he asked it for a script and it did it in like 3 seconds?
No.
Yeah, do it. Let's see. Just type in 90 pages.
90
Right? 90 pages.
pages.
90 minutes. Write a script for a 90-minute movie.
Minute movie. Right. A script
All right, 90 minutes.
for a 90-minute movie. For a 90-minute
In
movie.
the style of Matrix, of the Matrix series.
Or just Matrix 5, right? For
Okay.
Matrix 5, right?
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Uh,
Write a script for a 90-minute movie.
how do you write that?
Yeah.
What would be write a 90-minute script for Matrix 5?
Yeah, there you go.
Write a
For the
90-minute
fifth-
script.
For the 5th movie of the Matrix series.
Write a
Script.
90-minute
Minute.
movie or script movie for Matrix 5. What do you think?
Let's see.
I'm sorry, I can't do those things. Yeah. I can't do it, but a language model, I don't have access to information about the future, including details or plots of unrealistic movies. Additionally,
Because they
write a
can't
90
create new ideas. So it has to be something.
Oh yeah, well,
organic.
like it's using information from. I mean, in a way, it is making new ideas. I mean, it wrote a
Alright.
script,
Yeah, that is
but
interesting.
maybe
So why
we're
can't it
just
do that?
phrasing it wrong. We just write
So let's just
write a
ask
script for the next Matrix movie.
Okay.
Write a script for the next Matrix movie. Oh, it's doing it again.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Or write a script. Maybe a script is too long. We have to read the whole thing to see if it's any good, you know? Maybe something more. Write a song. What's a good song? What's your favorite artist?
Let's back to like the poem idea. I mean, yeah. But like, let's think of it. Let's see if it can write a script at all. Because so far, it hasn't
No,
been able to
it
do it. So, like,
definitely
let's
could.
say write a script
Write
about
a script about fusion.
about characters who are or about what should it be? What's the log line? About
What's your favorite
a
movie?
man who's trapped inside a computer simulation.
That is trapped inside a simulation
And is trying to escape.
and is trying to escape. How do you spell escape?
ESCAP.
ESCAP.
And then put 2 P's for trapped.
All right. Trapped. Escaped. Right?
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Here's a script for a story about a man who is trapped inside a simulation.
Day. A man, Jason, wakes up in a sterile white room. He looks around, confused and disoriented. Where am I? What's going on?
Suddenly, a holographic image of a computerized voice appears in front of him. Welcome to the simulation, Jason. You have been selected to participate in a unique experiment. What experiment? I want out of here. Unfortunately, you cannot leave the simulation. Your mind has been fully immersed in this virtual world. That's impossible. There has to be a way out. You have 1 hour to escape the simulation and return to reality. Good luck. The holographic image disappears and Jason begins to search the room for any signs of a way out. He tries the door, but it's locked. He picks up a computer tablet lying on the table and starts to examine it. To himself, there has to be a code, a clue, something that will get me out of here. As he continues to search, he realizes that the simulation is more advanced than he initially thought. He encounters various obstacles and challenges that test his problem-solving skills. Simulation Labyrinth Day. Jason finds himself inside a labyrinth room corridors, each filled with traps and puzzles. He quickly moves his wits and instincts to avoid danger and find his way out of the next level. Finally, oh wow, it's already done. Interior Simulation Matrix Day. Finally, Jason reaches the core of the simulation. The Matrix. He realizes that the only way to escape is to defeat the AI controlling the simulation and find a way to upload his consciousness back to reality. Interior Simulation Chamber Day. Jason stands in front of the Matrix, his heart racing. He takes a deep breath and enters the code that he found earlier, and suddenly the simulation begins to flicker and fade. Jason, I did it! I'm getting out of here! The simulation vanishes, and Jason opens his eyes to find himself back in the real world. He looks around, relieved to be free from the simulation.
I made it. I escaped the Matrix.
The computer voice reappears, and Jason prepares for what he expects to be a triumphant announcement. The computer voice, Congratulations, Jason. You completed the simulation. You may now leave. Jason nods, a smile spreading across his face as he stands up and heads for the door. Fade to black, the end. That was a weak script. That was not good.
I mean, this is
not
infantile.
only was that like a 1 second movie, but like that wasn't even good.
This is like the groundwork. This is like the foundation. You know, you can like tweak and turn and add more like obstacles to it.
I mean, the
in
fact
a way,
that it tried. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's infant. Yeah. It's literally a beta. It's still a beta. Yeah, it just came out, and it can do this. Yeah. Give it 5 years and then fucking ask it again.
Dude, I guarantee you within the next 10 years, we're all going to have our own assistants.
Right?
We're all going to have, we're going to have our own AI assistants that are literally going to be encouraging us to, what to do. They're going to be like, are you sure you want to do that? Do you really want to drink that? Your vital levels are a little bit low. You need did you take your vitamins today? Did you go on your exercise today?
Yeah.
You need to wake up. It's important for you to wake up this early or whatever. We're going to literally have coaches like that. Whoever creates the first AI coach, the AI assistant, bro, that is going to be incredible.
I think there's going to be several of them. Several different, just like
styles.
Apple and Galaxy
But whoever comes out with the first one is going to be...
There's going to be an Apple version. It's going to be really good. You know, it's going to have a sexy voice. It's going to always watch out for you. It's going to come in a cool drone or something. Or
dude, we should develop that. Think about how much of a $1 billion, $1 trillion idea.
Ahead of the game.
Coach.
He's going to implant shit in your brain so you can hear it in your head.
Nobody wants that though.
I kind of want it.
No.
I kind of
want it, but the majority of the population.
No, I think they do.
Nah, just by the fact
you already carry it everywhere.
But just by the fact that the majority of people are religious and people don't want stuff in their skin.
Not anymore. Religion is dying. No, I'm joking.
Not at all.
There's no way religion can die. And on top of that, I think that's very maybe not in your brain, but in your eyes for sure. People wear contacts already.
I'm just saying that's not going to be the next step. The next step is going to be a smart AI either in your phone or I think it's going to be an orb. Like I can totally imagine like
Yeah, that would be
a
dope.
docking orb. Like I want an orb that like you wear a wristband on your arm.
What would Disney invent? Because Disney's gonna invent some dope shit. Just think about Wally.
Disney.
You know how Wally has that other
Here's
girl.
what I'll tell you what I want to invent. I want to invent an orb that connects to a watch on your hand, right? Or a little gauntlet, like a little piece of machinery that's like this big, that essentially has like a digital readout, and this orb is connected to you, and it has like a certain radius that you can give it, and it flies and charges itself. So like essentially it's a little orb, and when you come home, it docks itself and charges itself when it needs to be charged. But besides that, this thing floats around you, and it's your coach. So it can become whatever you want it to be. So it's just like ChatGPT, but in the sense that you train it to train you. So you train it to say, hey, like I want you to give me advice on how to be a better rapper. And it's like, all right, this is what you need to be doing. You need to be rapping all the time. Like you should be writing notes right now. Like essentially it's going to be your alarm clock. It's going to be your coach. Be like, hey, like I want advice on how to get into shape. Like you're just going to give it goals, and it's going to help you accomplish your goals.
Right.
Like, hey, I want to make $1 million, and it's going to be like, all right, this is how you need to do it. First, what's your habits? It's going to ask you questions, and it's going to get you to your end goal by asking you questions and figuring out how you're going to get there. And then it's going to be like, all right, you need to go to the store and get these supplies. And then you're going to be like, okay, now what do I do? It's going to be like, you need to go online and get these documents and fill them out. I filled them out for you. Here you go. Sign it. And then you're like, sweet. I printed them out at FedEx. Go pick them up.
Yeah, but like
It's gonna be crazy.
If we hit a level like that, I feel like we're gonna not even need to do all that shit. You know, like our lives are just gonna be so much more advanced. Our lifestyles to like, I mean, I guess you would want to make stuff still, you know, because as a human, but I feel like AI is going to be so much better at making stuff that you're like, it's not really a career. It's just something I like to do, you know, because imagine what kind of jobs could you possibly do that the AI can already do better, you know?
Well, I mean, in that sense, eventually we won't be doing work. We'll just we'll be creating art.
Yes, hopefully. I like that future. I mean? Some people are saying that, oh, that's not possible. How is the economy going to work and blah, blah, blah. What are you just going to collect checks and all this shit? The whole meaning of life is going to deteriorate and there's going to be more suicides and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, no, I think that there will be suicides because it's just like the fact of people not finding ways to be productive and be, you know, find meaning to life, find a goal, find a direction, choose something, you know, like it's kind of like the cereal aisle. It's just so much cereal everywhere, so many options. You just gotta make a decision. Today is Thursday. We're gonna go with the like cinnamon toast crunch. You know what I mean? So some people can't do that, and that's just gonna happen. There's a certain percentage of people that are just gonna be depressed, and you can't do anything about them. But the virtual assistant, I think that's gonna help a lot. And going to your example that we're just gonna be creating art in a way, that's really what it's gonna be. There's gonna be people trying to make business and do the business world, but it's gonna be in an artistic fashion because AI is just gonna be making more better shit that is just gonna be running the country and running, you know, the economy in some way. And then you're just like, oh, this is just a different version, you know, like you can use it or not, and there's gonna be feedback, or maybe the AI will like adopt it and make a better version of that. I don't know, but I like that idea, and I see the future like that too, because I feel like that would be an awesome future to live in, you know, and make art and just live life, you know, like
we're gonna just use AI as tools.
Yeah, like iRobot. Did you ever read the book?
Never read the book. I love the movie.
I love the movie too.
Dude, I actually really cried the first time I saw it.
Really?
When it came out? Yeah, a little bit. I thought it was so good when that robot.
I don't know if he died at the end, but yeah, like they shut him down or he gave his life or something like that. Will Smith, and I was like, oh,
Right.
poor robot.
Right. Well, the
So good.
book apparently is nothing like the movie almost because
More
they
dystopian.
Hollywood it.
Yeah.
They Hollywood the movie because Will Smith was in it. They were gonna make it like Ex Machina. You know how Ex Machina is like you gotta fucking sit down and listen. Just listen to what they're saying, and you see the fuckery. You know, like you know.
It was
I mean,
deep. It was cool.
I mean, just look at the Matrix. The Matrix is deeply introspective and deeply like philosophical and all this, but it's surrounded by it's colored, it's dressed up with all this action and fighting and fucking flying and shit. And that's fucking dope too. But if you look at it as a real scenario where you're trapped in a simulation, you're not gonna be able to fucking fly, bro. You're not gonna hack the fucking thing. It's gonna fucking allow you to get through, you know, because there's gonna be a guy that's gonna fucking prevail, you know, and the simulation knows that, and they allow it to happen, and you just happen to be that it. I don't know. Where I'm going with that is that, yeah, the future. I have no idea, and I'm hoping it's like what you just said, that we're just gonna be making art. Like the whole concept of money, that we need to get rid of that, you know. But the thing is that we can't because there's still so many different powers out there that are trying to dominate, and I think this is fucking. It's kind of crazy to think this is, but you know how there's different types of ants, you know. There's like red ants, there's black ants, there's fucking ants from the Congo or whatever. All those ants need to disappear. Just one type of ant needs to be, you know, in the planet.
Why?
It's just gonna be uniform across the board.
Why?
Because that's just how humans. That's just how the
does that even
world
mean?
seems to be geared.
What are you
I mean,
talking
we've
about?
had.
Ants. What?
What I mean by that, you know, just
You're
look
saying
at
there needs to be
history.
One type of species.
One type of species. That's right.
But that's like Nazi way of looking at it. Like,
Right. But what I mean by that is that just look at how many tribes and how many civilizations and how many different people there were back in the day. And over time, it led to where we are now, where most of them got wiped and one remained. And they made walls around them and said, this is our shit. You guys can do your shit over there. But eventually, we're going to need to dominate the whole world.
I see. Well, I see what you're trying to say is that if it's one group, then nobody's fighting.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, in a
If it's
way.
all one people.
If we can all recognize we're human,
Right.
we're already there. We're like, okay, we're all human. Let's just live in peace and prosperity.
Right.
But because people are not geared that way, I feel like we need to wipe. I'm American. I speak English. If you're from fucking, you know, wherever you speak some other language, I don't fucking like you. I can't communicate with you. There's no trade. So I'm going to wipe you out. And now I have all your shit and I'm going to exchange that for all this other stuff. And
What's funny is language is probably the biggest thing. Like if we all spoke the same language, we would probably be united in our culture.
Yeah.
And in country, you know what I mean? Like, and that's like even from like a religious text, it even says that, like the earth or the people of the earth were united and we came together and we tried to like create a city and try to connect to the heavens. Like we created a tower so tall that we were trying to like become like the gods.
right.
And apparently, you know, supposedly according to the text of like, you know, Christian theology or religious text, you know, the gods or God came down and separated man and gave them different languages so that they would be confused and wouldn't work together.
Oh, right.
Like that's literally in the Bible. Like
Oh,
the Tower
really?
of Babel, I think it's called. So it's like it says that, you know, God came down and said, let's confuse them
and give them different languages so that they don't work together, so that they don't try to like essentially overthrow us.
Right.
So it's like, what if those are aliens? You know, what if the aliens from another planet came down? What if we as a species were all as one before, and because that we started becoming super powerful or like became a advanced civilization, and we're actually becoming, maybe we were going to get off this planet. Maybe we were actually going to become a galactic, not superpower, but a galactic power of some degree,
Yeah.
And then some other species came through and was like, we don't want you guys to be a galactic superpower yet, or we don't want you to be involved in the galactic community yet. So we're going to just stop this right now. And we're going to like, divert you and change your languages. So it's like, that's crazy to me, because I totally think that if we all had the same language, we would, there wouldn't be this separation of people. It's like, that is the biggest thing that separates us, is like, because even when you see somebody that speaks a different language, you immediately feel this like separation. You're like, we're not the same. There's something a little bit different about us. Whereas like, if someone speaks the same language, it's so much harder to like do crime or hurt somebody or be involved in like an antagonistic war with somebody who speaks your same language.
Yeah. It's funny because if you talk about people that, here in LA, how they speak, and then you go to Texas and see how they speak, they speak a little different.
Right.
But you can pick up on what they're trying to say because it's still English.
Sure.
They just have certain mannerisms and accents that, are different.
Sure.
But I feel like, what's the word? Homogenized or whatever. Yeah. Which means that everything is uniform. Everything's kind of like the same. If we had that, we wouldn't innovate. We wouldn't build new things and produce different art and stuff like that.
It's our diversity that creates unique output in a way.
Yeah, in a way. And I mean, freedom of speech. People having the freedom to speak another language or make up their own language. I mean, people fucking love Star Wars. I mean, love Lord of the Rings so bad that they learned Elvish language. Like, there's people that done that. And fucking what? Like, they learn this fictional language that somebody wrote in a book, and now they speak it. Because, if you just translate the words in English to the different, sounds, you can make a new language, But yeah, man, I don't know what the future is. I mean, I think this Chat GPT could be the answer to the gaps we have, the break of communication that we might have with the rest of the world that could bridge that, but the cultures will remain different though, right? Wouldn't you say? Like, I think if we reach a level where everyone is stable, or at least has enough food and shelter, I think we can reach that point, but because there's certain people that have so much need and don't have the basic building blocks to just be okay and be healthy, to that extreme poverty usually brings crime, right? Like, people are desperate, so they're fucking, I'm just gonna steal shit, fuck it, and if we manage to put a cap on that and be like, okay, everyone's at least got 3 meals a day, everyone's at least has a house, and I think that would bring a better future, a more fruitful future, like to it would really lower crime, but it won't produce really good shit. It won't produce Shakespeare. It won't produce, really good artists, really good Marines or soldiers or skills, because the hunger's not there,
Right. In a
Joe
way,
Rogan says
struggle creates art.
Yeah, struggle creates
artists.
New avenues, because imagine if we were, Elon Musk was our dad. We wouldn't want to make a podcast. We would have nice cars. We would have certain things, at a high enough level where we don't really have that struggle, you know? Like we don't have that deep struggle of trying to make something out of us. But, you know, there's a quote that says, show me the son of a great man that's also a great man. And it doesn't exist. There are no people there are very few people in history that they're great men or great people that come from great people.
Right.
You know? Because great people produce great things because they've gone through some level of struggle. And by their accomplishments have been able to bestow great accomplishments to their sons and daughters, you know, to their family. You got to be a real savage to be like, oh, this is my son, send him away to poverty for him to build this character, and then he can come into my world and now he'd be good. Because even if you did that, that doesn't guarantee that once he steps into your wing of like wealth, he's not gonna he's still gonna want to have that drive, that desire to be like make a name for himself, you know. Right. Where you know, that's in a way. Have you heard this Andrew Tate fucking guy that's been blowing up? He just got accused of human trafficking and a couple other things, but he brought up a very interesting fact where coming from poverty, having disabilities, having all these issues going on in your life, you have the perfect ingredients to be great. Like if you look at all the best movies of somebody, you know, picking himself from the bootstraps and making them something out of themselves and becoming great, right. They usually came from the dirt, you know what I mean, and right. build themselves up.
Well, that's the hero's journey.
That's the hero's journey. Exactly.
Because that's the journey of, you have to go through trials in order to learn.
Yeah.
Which is like, in a way, that is one of the fundamental principles of life, which is like you start as a cell, and that cell has to wiggle in order to become or you start in one space. Like you can just imagine it as movement. Like you can't become a new thing without movement, right? So in order to move from one space to another, you have to actually let go of your old self. And to let go of your old self, that's a struggle. To transition out of a state of being is always going to be hard because you're leaving something. It's the process of life and death, because life is the thing you're becoming and death is the thing that you're leaving behind.
Well, so you're leading to death because you eventually die. Right? That's
well, I would argue that, I mean, life is death, which is to say that you're dying right now. Like you can't live without dying, because the thing that you were yesterday, you no longer are. But the thing that you are now is the thing that you were becoming yesterday. So you are alive now because you are continually dying to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, like you're using death in a different way, but I know what you in that
way. I'm saying death is the trials. So you can't have life without struggle. To live at all means to struggle, because life is the process of change.
Yeah, there's degrees of that, right?
Right.
Like,
there's always
obviously there's a degree of like, okay, I'm in fucking deep poverty and I have nothing to eat for weeks at a time. Something akin to like North Korea. What?
But just agreeing with you is, it's like essentially the more struggle you have, the more possibility for change you have.
Yeah,
which means a more dynamic outcome, which some would equate to being, great, like you said, like being a great man.
I mean, just look at graphs. You start at 0 and then you slowly move up, right? If you started out at, dirt cheap, like you started from like nothing. You got nothing to show for yourself. You came from poverty and you live in poverty, all you got going is to go up, is to improve yourself. You can't hit rock bottom if you're already at rock bottom, you know? So if you don't want to be there, you change yourself. You integrate. You build yourself up. So you kind of like start seeing that graph go up. I mean, like you look at our income, you know, just in terms of like minimum wage, it's gone up. You know, so we're making more money as time goes by. You know, so like our income has gone up significantly since when we used to be where we used to be. Yeah, how did we get on this subject? I don't know.
Chat GPT, evolution, the changing of mankind, where we're heading, like
the future, and and what does it mean for us, and what we could do to influence it, right?
Yeah. Where do you see yourself next year? This time next year. Give
Um,
yourself 1 year. Where do you see yourself? Where's Mario Martinez? What do you see for this show? Maybe. What do you see for yourself as an individual? If you had to be realistic, where do you see yourself next
I want
year?
to make more content. I think YouTube is something where we're all gonna go into. We're all gonna make something that's gonna go into YouTube, even if you just fucking you saw an accident and you took a video of it and you upload it to YouTube. I think YouTube is gonna be like the obvious fucking dump. You dump in. There's the big bucket that everything goes into. It's like the first place, and then it goes into everything else. I mean, how often have you like wanted to know something? You type it in on YouTube and you fucking get a video of some dude telling you how to do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's better than reading an article sometimes. You know, because you get, if they're good at making videos. I mean, I fixed the washer the other day by watching a YouTube video, you know? I could have just spent $60, gotten a fucking expert to come in and switch out the belt, and that's all it needed, you know? Where, like, I could have done that, and I did do that because of YouTube, you know? And YouTube is so broad now that there is an actual video of the actual model I had.
Right.
And it shows you step by step on what to do, you know?
Right. A lot of content.
Versus, oh, this guy has a washing machine. It has a belt as well, a different place and a different way to get to it. But this is how you do it. You know, you watched a video on how to fix the TV. Remember when you fixed the TV? The 65-inch TV we still have out there?
Yeah.
You fixed it. It's like, what the fuck? When you were opening it up and you were telling me, like, oh, yeah, these right here, these LEDs, we need to get these replaced and we put a new one in and then it should work. Right. And it fucking worked.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And now it's broken again.
So, like, where I see myself in a year, I like to build up the show more. And I like to see where it could lead me to. And honestly, even if it doesn't become profitable, I just don't see myself doing anything else that's fun, you know? Like, this is fun for me. Like, I like talking about this shit. Like, I mean, how often do we have a long conversation with each other like this to talk about ideas in some way?
I mean,
like,
we do, and like just, you know, smoking or drinking or hanging out, and because we live together, obviously, but
right.
Yeah, it's not often that you really get to like be this focused on it. That's for sure. We're very like, this is a very focused way to like have a conversation.
Yeah.
Which is fun too.
Yeah, I mean,
and this is probably the most sober we've ever been doing this show.
Yeah, like, we're not drinking
normally
right
smoking
now.
Or drinking. Yeah,
I'm literally
100% sober this whole time, which is good.
You want to smoke?
I mean, I'm kind of winding down because I gotta eat.
Oh homegirl's coming over?
Chill. No, she's not coming over. But my throat is hurting me. So
yeah, you're sick, so it's probably best not.
But yeah, it's interesting to think where you're gonna be a year from now. Like, I think the fact that, I mean, obviously Roderick moved out, so now it's like you have this room to yourself. And
well, it's half yours too. Whatever you want to do, just let me know. I can move stuff around.
But either way, I mean, even still, it's like it's nice to be able to set all this up, have it here, and like, yeah, like if you can continue shooting for the next couple months, start getting people in here. It's like at least just start throwing up content. I think that's so cool.
Yeah,
it's gonna be good, man.
I'm excited for you. I like it. And we have all the stuff right here, and it's just sitting in storage. It's like your storage stuff.
Storage stuff.
Dude, I laughed for like a day or two because of that shit.
What is this stuff? That's storage stuff.
Don't worry about that. It's just storage stuff. It's like, stuff you buy and then
like-
you put it in storage.
Yeah, it's like George Carlin when he talks about shit. He's like, your stuff. He's like,
Oh,
he's
right.
like, people just
It's
buy
like,
stuff.
I just want to put my shit in there.
He's like, yeah. He's like,
Oh, this is shit. Whose shit is this?
this is my shit. And then
It's
we
my
buy a
shit.
house
You put your
for all
shit
of our
in there?
shit. Yeah. We got to buy a bigger house because we buy more shit. Yeah, it's so funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I don't know. Where do you see yourself in a year?
I'm looking to move in with Lauren. I don't know if we're gonna move down to San Diego this year. I'd like to, but if I'm honest with myself, I'm trying to get my finances right. I'm trying to get my money right, and I'm not gonna make a move without making sure my finances are where they need to be. So that's something that we still have to talk about as far as like figuring out, you know, I could see like maybe because her lease ends in like the end of August or something like that. So, I mean, if Luis is still cool with us being here, I could see her moving in here with us, or I could see us getting a place together, Lauren and I, you know, somewhere around here and continuing to work at the Irwin, her and I, until I have my finances where I need them to be. And then maybe we move down to San Diego or somewhere else. But my main thing for me is I really love her and I want to like, you know, create something with her and like, you know, develop and kind of like pursue that dynamic with her. But I also recognize that I got to get my finances and my career where it needs to be. And that's the same thing that became an issue between me and my ex-girlfriend, which was that like, I realize how important it is to get your career where you need it to be before you develop a family. And so that for me is number one, you know, like I need to get my money and my career where it needs to be. So that is my main focus. So not that necessarily that takes like a, it's weird because you don't want to say that that's number one in your life, but it is number one in my life. But it you know what I mean? Like, cause like, you know, your girlfriend or whatever, your partner doesn't want to be like, oh, making money or getting your career is more important than me. It's like, it's not that it's more important, but in a way it's more important than, or it is as important, I guess, you know, because it's important to have that, as a foundation if you're going to grow a family together or if you're going to create a life together. And so big thing this year is like, get the book done. I need to start creating a career and sources of income that I can, you know, so I can sustain myself long term. So I see myself this next year definitely having the book published by February of next year, easily. For sure, I want the book being published by next year and earning passive income and living with Lauren. Either that means, you know, living with Lauren with you, like all three of us together, you know, having a place, or, you know, I could even entertain the idea of all four of us getting a place, like Lauren, Shelby, you and I, you know, or Lauren and myself getting a place, and just thinking, you know, grandiose ideas or whatever, or outrageous ideas or whatever. So yeah, I could see myself living with Lauren and, you know, focusing on, how to push my book out. And then also just doing music on the side as a hobby and continuing to go down that path to create music and working on content with you. Cause obviously if you're able to like get this going, it'd be fun to like just continue to create content. I like having people in my life that are creators, you know, like I'm big on creativity and it's like, I'm willing to drop what I'm doing or, you know, take a moment in my life to just be involved in something creative. Like even if it's not necessarily something I'm going to get paid for in that moment, it's like, I love, just like you, I love this stuff. I love setting up gear even. Like I love creating. I love the process. It can be tedious sometimes and it can be annoying to edit, but I really do love it. You know, like going out and shooting, creating, thinking of it, figuring out how to edit it or how to like, you know, make it cool. It's like, it's fun. So yeah. Don't
you feel like we've been doing that for a while now? Last 10 years that we've been here, you know, we've been trying to build ourselves up in our career, you know, the career we spent so much money going to school for.
A little bit. I think I haven't been focused enough in any one area. So it's like I was really focused in rap for a short period of time. That's why I was able to get my album out. So like I focused in on that and I got it done. I got my album out. And then I focused in on my second album
And I didn't finish that because I pivoted to my book. And so now I've been really focused on this book, and I'm going to continue to focus on that until that's done. And I'm going to get that out. So that's going to be my next piece of content. Because I realize there is a value in having bits of content, like completed projects. So it's like, all right, I'm going to get the book done and get it out. And that's going to be my completed project. And then once that's done, I'm really going to try to make some money off that. I wasn't really trying to make money off of my first album. I just wanted to get it done to like say that I did it. But then I really want to make money with my second album. So once I'm done selling my book and hopefully like that has some steam and that's like making money on its own, hopefully because I can release it to like a distribution and publishing company, I don't have to be as involved. If I have to self-publish, then it's going to be more of a hassle and more work from me. But hopefully I can just release that. But then I can focus on my music and work on my second album, finish that up because it's already done. I just got to polish it up and release it. And then I can make some money with that and then just start releasing singles after singles. And hopefully I'll be making money for my book. And so if I have to work a second job, hopefully it'll just be extra income so I can focus more time. The idea is to like continue to try to get more time to do your craft. So that I can focus more time on releasing singles, making music videos, boom, put out more and more music. Because after this book, I still want to write other books, but really my main focus is going to be trying to entertain and act and make music. So next year is just going to be, this time next year is hopefully just going to be the completion of this book and in a good place financially and, dating Lauren and obviously having good friends around, good people in my life that are doing cool things. Right?
Yeah.
Hopefully we're all healthy.
Yeah. Health
good spirits.
It's a big one. It's funny. Like, did you imagine we were gonna be here a year ago? Do you think? Do you think?
Last year I was engineering, just coming out of being involved in COVID.
Right. And then like you meeting this girl kind of restructured your whole idea of the future,
True.
Like I'm saying that I want to build a podcast and doing all this stuff. This is just my idea right now. If I had to like give you an answer, that's my idea.
Yeah. What if you get a girl pregnant and then boom, everything changes.
Everything changes. You know what I mean?
Well, not doing a podcast anymore.
Earthquake or natural disasters. Right. It's like all this other shit that COVID again. It's like shit. Like
anything could change fast.
It's a hard thing to produce something that you for sure want to get done that's long term,
Right.
How long have I been wanting to make another video for about the podcast and I still haven't, and I have all the stuff here and I still don't do it. It's I really do think, you ever heard the quote that if you were to get all the money in the whole world and redistribute it evenly across everybody, everyone that's over 21 or whatever, all that money would still go back to the people that had it,
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like the 1%, they'll figure out how to get it back because they're just so driven. They're fucking working every day. They don't give a shit if they're sick. They got COVID, whatever. They're getting it fucking done. You know what I mean? Like, versus me, I don't have that fucking tenacity where like, I want to get this done, and I'm like fucking not gonna not sleep, not gonna fucking rest. I don't want to think about anything. I don't want to hear your problems. I'm getting this shit done,
Right. Yeah, a certain level of focus.
Yeah, it's just like they are fucking laser fucking focus, versus us, we're kind of more leisure, or not us, me more specifically. I don't know how well you are in that scope.
It's tricky.
I think there is different levels, and we're in a very specific level, I guess. But then again, some of those people that reached really high status in terms of wealth kind of came from pretty wealthy families, like they made enough mistakes on the path to becoming billionaires or trillionaires that if they didn't have that wealthy family, they would have just been stopped right there, and there could have been another company that would have taken over,
But there's something to be said, like you kind of mentioned, which is about willpower, or like tenacity, because like you just mentioned, if you wanted, you could wake up every day and drink only water, nothing else. You could wake up in the morning and do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats in the morning, and then go to work, come home, figure out how to create a video that you could post that night. Work on it for an hour, post that video, do some more push-ups, get in the best shape of your life, create a YouTube channel that starts making money by the end of this month. You could do that if you could figure out a way, but yet you don't. And I could sit here every night and tell my girlfriend like, hey, I can't hang out tonight. I need to finish my book. And I can spend 6 hours every night. I have the next 3 days off. I could spend 12 or 16 hours out of the next 3 days and write and get a bunch of chapters of them knocked out and spend all my nights off. And you'll be like, if you want to come over, you can hang out over here, but I got to write. I'm writing. I got to get this book done. And I could finish this book in 3 weeks if I wanted to. And then be tenacious and create cover letters and find a literary agent and get this thing published in 2 months. I could do it, but I don't. Why? Because there's a certain level of, like you said, leisure that we want to enjoy. We want to do work. We're not, there is a certain balance. So that's the trick is we want to enjoy life to some degree. It's like, I want to sit around and eat popcorn and cuddle with my girlfriend. And I want to bullshit and play video games with my friend for an hour or two. And I want to sleep in and feel comfortable in the morning rather than waking up early and working out. So it's like, how much of that are you going to be, how much of your comfort zone or whatever are you willing to give up in order to get some of the other things that you want? And like you said, some of those people, those millionaires or billionaires, maybe they're the ones that are like willing to just give up a lot more of their comfort zone. Maybe they're like, okay, I'll give it all up. I'll give everything up. I'll give it all up to become this thing I want to, for this one thing. And maybe that's what it takes. In a way, like I feel like I do that sometimes. Certain times I have like moments where I really push hard on something, and it's hard to keep that sustained. That's for sure. So I
mean, that's the biggest factor right there. I think the ability to maintain that through sickness, through tiredness, through like the world throwing you fucking curveball and more curveballs of like, oh, your girlfriend wants to do this and your mom called you gotta do that, and it's like, oh, fuck all that.
Someone's birthday.
Like being able to like fucking, like
focus your vision on just this thing.
Laser focused and burn everything else down and just get this one thing done.
Because if you thought about it, like, like if I wanted to, I could, like, what do I really need? I need to work so I can pay my bills, and that's it. And like to be able to eat. And so if I wanted to, I could focus all my attention on just work, coming home and working on a craft, a thing, and you can give everything else up if you wanted to. You could give your girlfriend up. You could give your family up, not in the way of like giving them up, but you could like focus less attention on them.
Right.
But, or there's little things that I know I could give up that I spend my time doing that I enjoy, that's leisure, like video games, movies, TV, eating longer than I should even. It's like, I could literally just, so there's lots of little things that maybe that's a part of discipline, I guess. You got to become more disciplined.
Like you're really good at that. Like there was a time before your girlfriend, obviously, that you were like, I kept inviting you. It's like, come out to drink, like we're going to go and hang out. We're going to watch the UFC and blah, blah, blah. And you kept saying no. I got to fucking write. I don't have any money, blah, blah, blah. Like multiple times. And then all of a sudden you get this girlfriend. You're like, I got plenty of time, girl. You want to go get something to drink? Let's go do it. Like priorities shifted. You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh shit, he does have fun. He can drink. I remember him now. Because back in your bartending days, like, bro, you partied hard, Versus, I mean, like you would get up in the morning, you have a shot before you go to work. Remember that? And you asked me if I wanted a shot. I was like, no, it's fucking 10 in the morning, bruh. Like that's fucking 10 at night, maybe, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, priorities change, and you gotta adapt to new circumstances, and you gotta look at where you want to be, and if you're having fun. And I honestly think you should have fun. I think you should like not take it so seriously. I think you should like be able to fucking enjoy a night. You know what I mean? That the problem is that you gotta outweigh it with all this work. For the one night you party, you gotta do 2 days of hard work. You know? You gotta fucking, you can't just be balanced out. It's like you work hard one day and then you party hard one day. No, it's gonna be 2 working hard days and then 1 party day, you know? Or like 5 days of eating straight, like fucking clean. And then the weekends you fuck off and you have fun, you know? Or like, fuck, dude. But like, I just had a shitty day at work. I just wanna drink. I wanna get fucked up. I just wanna loosen up, you know?
Right.
And then once you get loosened up, you want to watch a movie and you just want to lay
Right.
down.
That's
and then
the
you're
slippery road. That's the tricky part. I'm trying to get better at that too. It's not easy. It's not easy.
It's crazy. But, you know, that's what makes us humans too, you know, like flawed. If we were perfect, we would be a program. We would be like, it can't do anything besides code how to make a script on the Matrix 5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you could do that, you didn't have diversity. You didn't have all this other stuff that we in a way have. We have, you know, stories of what we used to do, and you know, versus people that are like, hey, you know, I just spend all my days in the computer building this new algorithm that's called chat GPT, you know.
Right.
And now it's making me billions, so I'm just sitting back collecting checks. Oh, but you know, there's these, you know,
It's
bugs and stuff.
It's
and
our
it's
faults.
like more work.
It's our faults, and that the little the imperfections that kind of make us beautiful and make us unique.
I mean, like, is there such a thing as absolute morality? You know, is there I mean, just think about the trolley problem. There are gonna be certain circumstances and situations where either solution, either choice, it's a bad choice. You know, it's like either kill 1 person or kill 5 people. You know, and either you do something or you don't do something. You know, versus you know, like, not really worrying about that stuff and enjoying it, enjoying life, enjoying everything. I mean, life is short. You know, you do need to enjoy it. But I mean, certain people are just like, I can't live until I get this fucking thing done. You know, I can't just sit down. My mom was like, she said this to us multiple times, that she can't sit down on the couch and watch a movie and relax if the house is dirty. Like, if there's dishes that aren't clean, or there's rugs that haven't been vacuumed, or tables that haven't been wiped, like, she can't fucking sit down. Like, it's itching at her to get it done.
Well, especially because that's something that she's done as a career, right? Isn't she been a cleaner?
She cleans houses, but
Right. So that makes even more sense.
yeah, I guess you're right in that
Like,
sense.
in her blood, she's like, no, this stuff needs to be
Well,
clean.
a thing about that too, though, is that she expected us to clean the house before she got home from work, and we just didn't do it because we didn't give a fuck. We're like, nobody's here to tell us what the fuck, so we're just gonna watch movies. So when she gets home and she sees the fucking place dirty as fuck, she yells at us and makes big ass deals out of nothing, in my opinion. And we all gotta stop what we're doing and clean up. Because she's home and she wants us to do this. Otherwise, she's gonna break or get rid of the TV or something, you know? We're like, fuck, you know? But, you know, some people have that, you know,
That drive.
they can't do anything else until this thing is done,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. I have, like, my thing is, like, it's like not a back burner drive, but it's a nagging voice. where it's like, it's not, some people have like a coach in their head. It's like, go, 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 do it, do it, do it. Mine's like did you do that? Did you remember to do that? So it's like, it's there, but it's not like, it's not as loud, you know? It's like, it's like someone that's like the, you know, the person that's driving super hard.
Right.
I feel like in their head, there's someone's like, you got to get that shit done, soldier.
Yeah. Exactly like that. Some people have a really heavy foot and they keep their fucking
like,
foot on the gas. You know?
Yeah, mine's like
just like a little tap on it.
Yeah, mine's like I'll be playing video games or hanging out with my girl or doing whatever, and my voice is like, shouldn't you be writing? Go write. You should be doing this. And then I'm like, yeah, you're right. But I'll play video games for another hour. But then it'll come back, you know, it'll be like, didn't you want to write?
Yeah, it's kind of like working out.
And then eventually I'll be like, okay, and I'll go write. But it's not the same thing as I'm sure someone else is like as soon as they sit down to play a video game, which is probably like Neil or somebody else, where it's like as soon as they start something that they're not supposed to be like, don't do that shit. Like you go write, you go do this.
Yeah.
And then it's like they immediately go focus on their thing.
Yeah.
It's different levels of will, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it also speaks of your character. I feel like your character is a certain type that is good with tasks and not so good with, you know, creating stuff, or it's good at task and the opposite of that. Mm-hmm. I don't know how I phrased it. Yeah. But Neil, you know, because he's a different type of character. Like what he could do, I'm like, what the fuck? That doesn't sound fun, dude. Like, why are you like he's honestly trying to be sober this whole year, and I'm pretty sure he's still sober right now. And it's February. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm sure he's going to get pretty far. I don't think he's going to do the whole year, though. He likes to drink. And, you know, he's fun when he drinks. But, you know,
different personalities.
He's always been that type. You know, like I think childhood, like the way you were brought up and the habits you built and the people you saw when you were growing up really build up the rest of your life. You know, like if you had a dad that fucking like, hey, you can't do shit until you get your homework done. You know, you can't do shit until you get this task done, or you know, like or maybe he didn't make you do it. Or maybe he was just so driven to get shit done. And you saw it every day. You saw it and you're like, man, I want to have that, you know? Mm-hmm. And then you adopt that. Mm-hmm. And then you become that, you know? I mean, that's rare. And that itch to want to get it done. It's kind of like working out. Like how often do you know that, oh, I should go work out or go for a run? And it's just intense energy and focus to work out, you know? You got to go somewhere and do it, or you got to exert a certain amount of energy, which you want to just sit back and enjoy, you know, playing video games or having food or going out with your friends or whatever, versus going out and torturing yourself in some way at the gym, you know? It's hard, you know? And the same way, like people don't do this not because they can't afford it, which, you know, there's a debate on that. But you could do it on your phone or whatever, you know? And people still don't do it, you know? I mean, I had it all in storage and I still didn't do it. So, like, some people are just driven differently. They're designed differently. And, I mean, the problem is when you compare yourself to them, right? Because then you start seeing yourself as, like, not worthy or like less than, you know, and you start accepting that you're just lazy, you know, versus us. I feel we always come back to the gym and do it all over again. We go through cycles. I think the everyone goes through, it's a cyclical cycle of good and bad, you know, kind of like the wave, kind of like sound. Like there's ups and downs, peaks and valleys. And I feel like certain people have higher peaks and lower and higher valleys than we do, you know, or, you know, in
And I think
some
it's
people.
just about asking yourself, what do you want? You know, like if you ask yourself what you want, and you can really be honest with yourself about what you want,
In a way,
you
you
can
are
get that.
doing
You can
what
get
you
that.
want.
Yeah, exactly.
In a way,
it's like,
every time you're lazy and you say you
Yeah.
want this thing and you want to get it done, but right now I don't.
But I think that you got to continually ask yourself, what do I want? So it's like when you're at any, like, you know, you got to get in the habit of asking yourself, what do I want, like once or twice every hour, because then if you're doing that, then, you know, if you are fucking off, if you're playing video games or hanging out with your girl or going to the beach or, you know, whatever, doing something that's not quote unquote work or, you know, your craft or whatever, then you can ask yourself and be like, is this what I want right now? And be like, yeah, this is what I want. I really do want to be, you know, hanging out with my friends and drinking, or, you know, shooting the shit and cuddling, or playing video games or watching a movie. And you're like, yeah, this is what I want. I choose this. But then sometimes you might be doing that and you'd be like, no, I don't really want to be doing this. I'm just doing it because I'm doing it, you know,
Right.
and I'm going to stop now. And then you can like refocus your attention. So I think you got to continue to ask yourself, like, is this what I really want? And be honest with yourself. And if it is, then don't be mad at yourself for having fun. Don't be mad at yourself for doing something you enjoy.
Yeah, there is a self-deprecating factor of like, just think of all the days you spent playing video games or just think of all the times you spend money on things that weren't just think of all the fees you paid for stupid shit, you know?
Yeah.
And you think, oh, I could have been a millionaire now, you know? Like I could have kept all that money and been a millionaire, you know?
But you enjoyed it. You had fun.
Yeah,
You went
it's
out to
just
eat.
like
You enjoyed that food.
it's better than going down the street to the actual bank where they don't charge you a fee than to just use this ATM that's going to charge you a 30-cent fee.
Right. It's the whole
But
cupcakes
accumulation over the course of time that it becomes a million. We're like, it's kind of like asking, like, would you want to eat all the food you're ever going to have all at once? You can't, you know? You can't eat all the food you're ever going to eat for the rest of your lifetime all at once. You got to eat it in bite-sized pieces over time. Because that's how humans are geared. You need energy.
Yeah.
So there's that. But yeah, some people are fucking good, you know. And I think we're kind of part of that. I think we're close to that
Yeah. There's different levels.
spectrum versus people that are just content with what they're doing. They're just like, oh, you know, I work at a gas station, and I'm okay with that. I'm happy with that, and there's nothing wrong with that. We need those people. We need to have people that can accept that. I'm just not gonna be a superstar. I just want to work at my gas station, do my 8 hours, and then go home and watch movies, and then do it the next day.
I think I think there's different stages too, depending upon like where you're at in your craft. And I think we're at like a kindling stage. Some people are like they're like sparks. Like everyone has a little spark in them. And, you know, sometimes like you get some kindling going, but it's not a fire yet, you know. The people that are roaring fires are the Elon Musks that like they're a bonfire, you know.
Yeah.
Like then there's some people who are like, you know, YouTubers who are doing really well for themselves. They're like a campfire, you know. They're like they're going, but they're not like a huge bonfire, but they're a campfire. They're a small little fire. We're like kindling. We're not even a fire yet, but we're working at it. And as long as we continue to work at it, and if we could put in a little more effort, we'll recognize that, ooh, there's that flame, and then we'll catch it, and then we're like, yeah, and then we'll start to go down that path and our craft will become more of a fire, you know. But part of that is us, and part of that is catching the moment, catching the audience, catching a crowd, you know, catching a particular period in time, catching an invention, whatever. So it's like it's part luck, part effort, you know.
I sometimes like wonder how people see me, you know. You ever like wonder, like you ever see your reflection in a public space, and you're like, oh shit, that's how I look like.
Yeah.
Like how am I
do
getting
you see
perceived by other people? Like I'm trying to be kind, I'm trying to be generous and accommodative and charismatic,
Yeah.
and all those good words. But at the same time, I don't know how to do it in every situation, you know? I don't know how to do it well in every situation. And sometimes I see myself in a reflection and I'm like, oh shit, that's me. That's how I look like today, you know? That's the jacket I chose to wear. Or is this good? Could I wore something better? Could I said that better?
Sure.
Like, there's gonna be mistakes, right? There's gonna be like, man, I shouldn't have said that. You ever like said something and you're like, fuck, I shouldn't have said it that way, you know? That was rude. That's probably rude, or that was not a funny joke. Like, fuck, I should just stay quiet and just go and do my own shit, you know?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you don't want to do that step forward and be super accommodative because you don't know if it's going to go well for you or if it's going to put you two steps back, you know? And sometimes I think about that, and I think about, like, how am I being perceived? Like, am I making myself be perceived the way I want to be perceived? Or are people going to just people are going to make their own opinion of you, even if you do it good. There's going to be certain people that are going to like you a lot, and there's going to be some people that are not going to like you at all.
Yeah.
No matter how nice you are, you know?
Yeah, talking about perceptions too. Like, what do you see for the podcast? Like, how do you want to be perceived? Like, what's the vision? Do you have a specific like audience for the podcast, or is it just like, because I know we had originally done Ordinary World, which is more
remember?
like kind of like talking about anything and everything,
Right?
which is great. But then, I mean, I know obviously like UFC, you like philosophy. I don't know. What's your vision for the podcast as you go forward over the next year?
My biggest goal with the podcast right now is not to be fake,
Just be
genuine.
okay.
Because I feel like a lot of people that go into this realm, that they are captured somehow, either by the audience or by this one thing that was successful, and they just keep doing it. I want to be me in some way, and
Whatever
I don't know
means.
how to be me without just being me, and
Right.
not like
Right.
there are certain things that I've said no to, you know, that I could have had in the podcast. There are certain things that, you know, these
that.
people want to be on the podcast, but I don't see any value, or I don't find them interesting, or
So maybe,
Or
it
maybe-
doesn't have to be anything then. So maybe it can be whatever you want it to be then. Kind of like Joe Rogan's thing. Like,
yeah. I mean, like, the whole setup of this is kind of like Joe Rogan's. I love Joe Rogan's setup. I love that he has the table and you're like looking at each other and we're talking as if we were like at a restaurant or something.
Yeah.
Versus some of these other podcasts that I've been watching where it's more like a panel, where like we're sitting side to side,
Right.
and it's all in a way like you gotta hit these talking points. Or like, I don't really like that.
Well,
I don't really like
you see like Bobby Lee and what's that other guy's name?
Oh yeah, Bobby Lee and
Like Bad
Santino.
Friends?
Yeah, Bad Friends.
Yeah,
I love that
like
show.
Theirs is pretty good. They're like kind of in an L-shaped.
Yeah,
Theirs is
I don't
fun.
like that.
I mean, like theirs is still kind of like fun though and entertaining. I still like theirs.
Because their
comedians.
characters are so perfect for each other. Like it flows well with each other. Why?
Yeah, they're really great together. I mean, obviously the comedians. So there's that
Yeah,
banter level, and they have that experience, and like, you know, they know how to like kind of bat each other's ideas back and forth. But yeah, I'm just curious. Like, obviously they have a specific audience they're trying to reach.
What I
Whereas,
don't like about them,
I like your approach to where it's like a Joe Rogan approach. But how do you build an audience without having like specific
things we
people
talk about.
on that are like, maybe because he does have specific people on that are like very topic focused, you know?
Right.
So I'm curious, like, how would you grow
Well,
through your podcasts?
It definitely depends on the person I have on.
Okay.
I mean, the people that I've had on so far have been just friends from work.
Right.
And none of them are specialized in a certain type of subject or a certain type of profession. The only reason they agreed to be on the podcast is because they're my friend. And I told them, hey, we're going to have drinks and we're going to hang out and talk some shit, you know? And I think that's important too, because it's hard to get a vision of the public if the public never speaks their vision, you know? Like the public is you and I.
Okay.
And anybody else that's not in a high status position, which is what I mean about people that are specialized in certain subjects. Those people specialized in those certain subjects, I feel like they have a lot of content already out there, and you can really, like, you know, in a way decipher how they would act and how they would answer certain questions, versus people like you, how, like, nobody's listening to your opinion, but I want to hear your opinion and I want to share it with the world. And it's important to hear your opinion because you matter too in some way, you know? And not
So
only
it's closer
that,
to like the Ordinary World podcast. 'Cause it's
Yeah.
closer to like, hey, this is going to be an everyday.
I
interaction
do
type.
want to have people with professions though, you know?
Yeah.
I do, like, for instance, I like to learn more about history. I like to have a historian on and learn about certain things about America, learn about certain wars or certain scriptures or something like that, you know? But I don't know anybody like that. And even if I did know them, I don't know if I can get them in here to speak to me about certain things they know, you know? Like, I think that's a process of developing the show to then get to that point. I think I should still be fishing for those people, which I will be, but I'm not banking on that. And it's like, oh, I'm not gonna continue the podcast because nobody wants to be on it. I've had that idea. I've had that thought, you know, implanted in my head before, where, like, it really isn't worth it. It's not worth, you know, I could sell this and get pretty good money and invest that into something, into the stock, and then that will make me money over time, you know? But it's like, I feel like I'll be depressed.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have a thing I do, you know?
Right.
I feel like this is a hobby, you know?
Right.
And if I structure it to where we can only talk about algorithms, we can only talk about Chat GPT, and I don't want to talk about your fucking girlfriend and how you guys going to move in with each other. I don't give a shit. I want to talk about this subject. I'm going to cut all that other bullshit out.
Yeah.
It's like, what? No. Hearing all those other subjects from you and what's happening in your life structures a character about you. And in a way, I'm trying to display my character in the internet so they know what kind of person I am. And they know that when I have somebody in, they kind of know an idea how I act with them. Do I let them get by with certain bullshit comments? Or do I, like, pressure them in certain ideas? What is my perspective? And all these things. Like, the reason I listen to Joe Rogan so much is because I identify with his perspective. I identify with the things he says and how he structures things and how he questions people, and he knows his own limits. He has professors from, you know, Harvard and, you know, like, you know, a whole array of other professions, and he doesn't question them. Like, he doesn't grill them. It's like, oh, are you sure about that? Because I heard this on a website and it told me that the earth is flat. Versus he's like, really, that's crazy, you know? Like, holy shit, the
he's
infinity is so big, it has everything in it.
Right, totally.
Even this very moment, and multiple different versions of this moment in infinity. It's like, wow, that's awesome. You know, I think, I don't like this phrase, but it speaks a lot about our position, or anyone's position, is that we all have our own lane. And our lane is what we know. And we know we don't know certain things outside this lane, but then we don't know what we don't know.
True.
And that's what's just dark. Like, we have an idea that there's things over there, but we don't know at all. Like, we cannot even imagine some things, you know?
Right.
And these people can illuminate some of that path.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's what makes podcasting so fun. Is
Yeah.
you're tapping into that area of the unknown. Dude, I appreciate you having me on. This is so much fun to come on here and bullshit with you. The next time I come on, I'd love to like talk more about the physics experiment that I'm going to probably do over the next couple weeks.
Yeah. We should do it.
Yeah.
Or
we should do it.
can you talk about it now? And like in a brief context?
I got to wrap up because my voice is dying and I'm dying here. So I got to wrap it up. But yeah, like the physics experiment.
We have this at any point. We can pop it up.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm excited to come back and like talk about that again. And then I'm excited to, because I feel like now that I've been writing for a little bit, I feel like as you write and as you endeavor on any craft, you sharpen your skills. And so my appreciation of my own theory and my own hypotheses has gotten tighter and more succinct. And I'm able to describe it and articulate the way in which I'm approaching this whole process better. And so it'll be fun, like even just a year ago compared to a year or a year and a half ago, whenever we did our last podcast, it'd be fun to like revisit some of the similar topics that we kind of had and ideas that we've shared and kind of, re-articulate ourselves.
Yeah, we should have a list of like topics we want to hit, because sometimes we kind of rift, and I like doing that too. Yeah. But I feel like the topics, because one topic that I found interesting, and I don't know where I stand with this, is the whole idea of tipping. Like you tip when you go to a restaurant, right? And like certain people don't tip well.
It's true.
Like, do you think that that's because you live off of tips in some way,
Yeah.
I know Lauren brought this up, is that she didn't used to tip well before she started making money off of tipping.
She still doesn't tip.
She doesn't? No, I wouldn't doubt it. I don't think I'm a great tipper either.
She's very strict with her money.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that she's not a great tipper, but she's not like, there's good tippers.
She's a girl. She doesn't have to spend money.
She's not like, she's not free flowing with her money by any means.
Free flowing, which is like doesn't give it away.
She's very generous in the sense of like, she's has a great personality. She's very loving and kind, and like there's been many moments when she's like gotten us dinner, or like we've shared dinner or whatever, like, so she's very kind in that sense. But I think I like, there is certain personalities on any spectrum where like you're really loose with your money, you're really tight with your money, or you're somewhere in between. And so like I'm more on the very loose spectrum. Like I will over tip, like where I'll tip 30-40% easily. Like, like my tab is $20 and I'll give you 30 because I like you.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, here's a 10 off of 2 drinks because you have a great smile and we talked, about whatever. And like, I just, I'm going to give you an extra 10 for these 2 drinks I got, or whatever. It's like, I'll tip based on how I'm feeling versus like a percentage versus like, she'll pull out a calculator and be like, what's 20%? You know what I mean? Like there's the people that like pull out and they're like, there's the letter of the law kind of people. And there's like the people that are like going with their gut, like, so she's more of like a calculated, like, what is 15%? What's 20%? And I'm going to give exactly that versus like, I'm going to be like, this feels like a $5 kind of interaction. This feels like a $20 tip kind of vibe. Whereas like someone who's, I'm, by my own standards, I'm not amazing with money. So it's like, that's something that I got to work on and I got to get better at. And so maybe that's part of it, is because I go with my gut and I'm willing to like, just be a little bit more loose with my money. Maybe that's why I don't have money in my pocket.
Yeah, right.
So there's something to be said for being quote unquote strict with your money. So that can be advantageous in some regard. Yeah. So it's interesting too.
But I'll come up with a whole new set of subjects. But I knew your opinion about it because we've talked about it before. And you changed my perspective, because my boss, he's like the exact opposite of you. He doesn't agree with tipping. Yeah. Like he thinks that people that went into the industry and knowing that if they live off of tips, they shouldn't work there, because if you're going to do a service, why do you get paid extra? Like I don't pay my mechanic more if he does a good job. I don't pay the grocery lady that packs my bags. She deserves a tip. Right. Like everybody deserves a tip.
Right.
But in restaurants now you get a tip. It's like, there's exceptions now?
And see, that's the thing. I'm the guy that tips my mechanic. Like, I'll tip my mechanic. I won't necessarily tip my grocery, but I will. That's where
I think the grocery girl should get tipped more than the mechanic.
And I've tipped grocery people too. And I literally have. I've tipped people.
I tipped the guy that
random people that were like, why would you tip that person? It's like, because I appreciate them, you know? So it's like, that's my personality, is I will tip the random person that like most people won't tip. So I do agree with that. It's like the average person does deserve a tip. And I like that idea. If I had enough money, I'd be tipping everybody. I'd be walking around just handing out money. It's like, because we all do deserve tips.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a kind of a stigma around servers specifically.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
I mean, he brought up an interesting point, and it's true. I'm sure it's true. I haven't done the research, but tipping started because wealthy people wanted a special service. And wealthy people would go to restaurants and specifically go to waitresses and tell them, hey, I'm going to give you $20 on top of this, but give us incredible service. Always checking on us. Bring us new drinks as we finish the drinks, and I'll pay you. Don't worry about it, you know? And that's how it started. They're like, oh, shit, now this person's coming in. We know that. And we know that they're going to give me extra money on top of what I already make. So I'm going to give them a great service, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And then that
that
went across the board then, you know? And they're like, oh, okay, now tipping's a part of everything, you know? I mean, some countries look at it.
Which is in a way like why you get such good service when you know, or why you would hope to get good service.
Right.
And why some people don't tip when they get terrible services because like, man, like, I got lousy service. Why am I going to give you extra money? So like, I get that. Whereas like, you go to other countries and sometimes you just get, you know, so service. It's like, because they're not expecting tips. They're like, no, you're going to get your food when you get your food. I'm going to give you your drinks when you get your drinks and deal with it. I'm not trying to get extra money from you. You're going to give me the money that you're going to give me. And I'm already getting the money I'm getting. So it's like, I totally get where that comes from. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't want to blow up your throat. I know you're not feeling well, so we can call it there.
Yeah.
That was this essentially was a start. I don't know if all the cameras are still rolling, but I mean, we had an issue with this. I got to charge all the batteries before we do another one, but
it's a good revamp. We're going to get back into it.
Good game. Right. We're back in it, and welcome back to the show, guys. And there's more coming.
100 more seasons. Mario Martinez show.
Dude, did you hear about what happened with George
up?
Roland or whatever his name is?
What happened? Are they back or what?
No, bro. They took him off.
What do you mean?
They got rid of him. They canceled him because he had like some sexual harassment cases brought against him. Yeah, not sexual harassment, like worse than that, like exploitation, like power exploitation, kind of like what happened with Louis C.K.
What?
Yeah, so he got me too'd or something like that. I don't know the details on it. I honestly saw it on Instagram. I sent it to you guys, and I was like, "What?" I mean,
no way.
Let me bring it.
This needs to be on the next episode.
Okay, let's just.
We're about to do the Rick and Morty episode next time, and we're gonna check out my experiment. We're gonna talk more about that.
Yeah.
And we're gonna hear more from Mario.
All right.
Let's do this.
That's the good close.
I believe in you.
All right. Peace.